Okay, this is part 3 of this restoration. So I've ordered a new keyboard, which will come perhaps in the next few days. Ordered it from CGM Musical. It's in Scotland. Really, really good little company. Supplies all parts for accordions and melodeons. So if you ever need any bits of CGM Musical, based in Scotland, is really, really good. So I'll wait for that to come. So I'm not going to do anything else with the keyboard until that comes. So I'll just leave that being. But I'm going to have a look at the bellows. Now, I've taken all the pins out of the melodeon and I've put them on my little bit of felt, which I've made little pictures on the felt showing where the pins go, so that when I put the pins back in, they go back into the same holes. So I'll put that there. So now I'm going to take off each end and have a look at bellows. So take this end off. This is the treble end, obviously. This comes off. Right. So just take that off for a minute, and then you can take the bass end off as well. So it all comes apart. Now, once you've got the bellows off, and then you want to put it back on again, if you take both ends off, when you've finished doing whatever you're doing to the bellows, you might put them on that way round, or that way round, and it's a best way for them to go, because one, the pins will be lined up and have the right pin to go into them, but also on the bellows, like on this one here, you've got some little cutouts here and here, and those cutouts correspond to part of the clamps for clamping down the reed box. So it's really important that you get the bellows in the right place before you start putting it back together again. So what I've done is, before I take them off completely, I've actually made a little mark on the top here, and it says TR, so that's for the treble side, so I know it's the treble side of the melodeon, and then under there there's a low, LOW, and that means that when I put it together, spot a deliberate mistake, and I'll put it together like this. That's going to be where the lower notes are at this end. So I know that that's now all put together in the right kind of configuration. So that little marking on the into the bellows, just here, treble and low, means that when I put it together, I always put it back together with the orientation of all the bottom and the top end in the correct places. So that will help me. So I'll put that down for a second. There. So now I can take off that side, and I can put that aside as well. So I'm not going to touch the two ends. Now I'm going to have a look at the bellows. Now the bellows are in really quite a poor condition. The worst thing was that the bellows corners were missing here, and there was holes in the corners as well, so the air was leaking out through those corners. Now, so when the air leaks out, it just means that you're not getting enough air going through the rest of the accordion, because it's kind of coming out through the holes, and so you're kind of losing power or kind of volume on the accordion. So the first thing to do is to fix up the holes. So what I'm going to do is fix up the holes in the corners here, and once I fix them up, I'm then going to put over the corners some new, here you go, bellows corners. So these are the right shape and size for this particular bellows that I've ordered. So once I've finished fixing up the corners, I'm then going to clamp on or crimp on some of these little corners as well, and I might even just put a little dab of super glue just inside the corner before I clamp it on, just to give it a nice firm fix. Now to fix the holes in the corners of those bellows, it looks a bit messy, but it should be okay. To fix the holes, what I'm going to do is get some Gorilla tape, which is really sticky, really strong, and I'm going to cut some little sections of this and make some little patches. So I'm going to cut it. I'll just show you an example. So I'm going to cut some little patches of this, but I'm not going to stick it on the outside. I'm not going to stick this extra sticky Gorilla tape on the outside of the bellows, which I could do, so you could actually start doing some fixes across the holes. But the problem with putting on the outside is when you start building it up on the corners, then the bellows corner itself doesn't sit properly on the corner, so it kind of sticks out a bit. So when you close the bellows up, you'll find that the new bellows corner will just be sitting proud and sitting too far up. So if you try and put patches on the outside of the bellows, then you find that the bellows corners don't really fit properly. Now this is a new bellows corner. If I put this on, I don't know if you can see that, but that's all lining up properly. So that's why I'm not going to start fixing the holes from the outside. I'm going to fix them from the inside. So I'm going to use little patches with special sticky tape and do some patches on the inside of the bellows on those corners. And then once I've done those little patches, I'm going to get the new bellows corners and just put a little bit of glue on them and crimp onto the corners. And hopefully that will actually seal up those little holes on the corners. Once I've got the corners done, then I'll have a look at just checking the rest of the bellows, and then I might even put them back onto the accordion and just check to see how good the compression is, so how much air is being lost through the bellows, or if that's actually the bellows working pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do a little fixing of the corners and sticking the new corners on, and then I'll do another little vid to show you how that's gone. Right. Okay, little update. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 corners. And I've put these little diamond shaped patches. There we go. Got a diamond shaped patch from the inside of the bellows right on the corner. Nice and sticky, but should be nice and strong as well. And then a little bit of super glue on the outside of the corner, and a little bit of a clothes peg just to clamp them all closed. So I'm going to leave that just to dry for a little while, then take the pegs off, have a little look, and then if that all looks good, then I'll start putting some bellows corners on and crimp them on and see how that looks. Okay, I've left it for a little bit of time, at 15 minutes. So I'm going to take off the pegs and have a look at the fixings. So I'm going to take these off. Let's have a little look. Just put that away for a minute. Okay, now okay, so it does look a bit of a mess. I appreciate that, but what I can see from the corners is that the holes are completely closed up, and that glue has nicely just closed up the little gap, and the little patch on the inside has closed up the hole from the inside. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to see if I can put some of those corners back, new corners on. And before I do that, I'm just going to flatten everything down a bit with a pair of pliers. Just going to flatten the corners a bit, make them as flat as I can. A little pair of pliers here, just to squeeze them a tiny bit more, just to get them to a good shape. And then I'm going to take my corner that way. I'll bring this a bit forward. There we go. I'm going to take my little bellows corner, brand new, from CGM Musical in Scotland. I'm going to just put a tiny bit, just run a tiny bit of super glue inside there. And then I'm going to find my newly fixed corner, and then I'm just going to push that new corner fully home. Looking pretty good. And then making sure it's all lining up. Clamp it on. There we go. So that new corner is now clamped into place, and a little bit of glue. And apart from the fact that it hasn't got any bellows tape covering it, it looks pretty nice. And so once it's been, I'd put some bellows tapes on there as well. That's going to be pretty good. So that's the first one done. Looking neat. So what I'll do, I'll just pop the other ones on as well, and then I'll show you what it looks like in a sec. Okay, little update. So I've put all the corners on, and they've been pressed on, a little bit of glue as well, just to make them nice and secure. So those have gone on. There's 1, 2, 3 gone on there, and one's gone on there, and one's gone on there. But they've all fitted on really neatly, and I think the holes in the corners are fixed as well, which is good. Normally I'd peel back the bellows tape before putting the corner on, and then you put the bellows tape on top of the corner, on the edge of the corner. But this time I've tried taking the bellows tape off, and when I start trying to peel off the bellows tape with a little fine blade, it was actually really hard to get off, and starting to kind of ruin the cardboard folds of the bellows as I was taking it off. And I thought, oh, I think I'll stop trying to take the bellows tape off, because it's actually causing damage to the bellows itself. So what I'm going to actually do is re-tape the bellows with new bellows tape on top of the old bellows tape. Now, I don't know if that's quite what you should do, but in this case I think it's going to be fine. It's just going to make the bellows a bit wider, because it'll be a bit thicker because we've got more tape on them. But I think it should look pretty good, and I think it will work. So that's what I'm going to do. Apologies if it's not quite the right thing to do when you're doing bellows, but anyway. So it looks quite neat. I think it's going to be okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it back on the accordion, put it all together, and just see how airtight the accordion is with the holes and the bellows fixed. And I'm hoping it's going to be pretty good. So I'm going to put it back together. So make sure I've got it in the right orientation. Like that. Put the treble side back on. There we are, and I'll just pop the pins back in. Doop 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 doop. Hey, so let's put that in. There we are. Just give these a little bit of push. further in. Okay, so now I'm going to give it a bit of a road test. I have put some tape just here and here because the keyboard's not on. There's actually a big hole, a hole here and a hole here for the keyboard screws, and air will come out of here from the bellows. So I've taped them up so the air doesn't pop out of there. So now I'll just see how airtight this old recording is. So hopefully it's going to be pretty good. Who knows? Right, let's have a go. So, anyway, let's have a look. Actually, it's pretty good. When I'm doing it, I'm pulling quite hard to get those bellows to come apart. So that's telling me that the compression on this melodeon is really good. So let's have a look at some of the keys. So, actually sounds alright. I haven't done anything to the reeds inside or anything really. I've just fixed the bellows and it's sounding pretty good. I'm not a melodeon player. I don't really know how to play the melodeon. I play the accordion, so that's why I can't play any tunes on it yet, but I'm going to teach myself how to play it. But I think that is what I call a success. I think those bellows are actually really good. I'm really impressed with my own work. Oh, well done me. Sorry. So I think that's pretty good.